you to have this acknowledgement that you are His creation, and He also requires you to also have actions done, which is what is being asked of you to do.
Require the same
So,
thing from animals.
from what?
Animals.
No, animals follow instincts. God created them.
So
instincts.
we're different, are we?
We are different from animals, and clearly you can see that. Animals, some
So why
animals
did
can be
God ever
clever.
create us so recently? Compared, the universe is 14 billion years old. The Earth is 3.5 billion years old. We've only been here, at best, the last million years.
Mm-hmm.
So if the universe is we've been here 5 seconds before midnight. So if we're the unique animal that He wants to test, and we're the apotheosis of creation, why did He only create us so recently?
God says in the Quran, كُلَّ يَوْمٍ هُوَ فِي شَأْنٍ. This is in Arabic Quran, right? Every day, God is with new affairs. So we don't believe that God only creates and that's it. Continuously is there. We are part of this creation that God has told us.
Still created.
Yes, of course. God is not someone like a Judeo-Christian God. He created 6 days, and on the 7th day He rested, and because he needed refreshment. Don't use words which is not there. The Jewish and the Christian Bible says God created in heaven and earth 6 days, and on the 7th day He rested, and then He got refreshed. So I'm not sure whether because of tiredness or whatever reason. In Islam, no. God doesn't need refreshing because He creates and He doesn't get any kind
Why
of...
does He need us to worship Him? What's that about?
Can I answer one question at a time? I'm sure as an atheist you have billions of questions. I'm gonna...
take an hour to answer one question.
You said, why is it that only a fraction of a second, like yesterday, God is creating us with a free will to worship Him and so on? I'm saying, God is creating continuously, always He's with new affairs. We are part of His creation. What is required of us is what we need to understand for our own life. There might be other life elsewhere. Allow me to finish, please. There might be other life elsewhere.
Allow me to finish. This guy never finishes.
If you don't like my answer, then it's up to you to have another discussion. So as I'm saying, if God created us, it is important for us to know the purpose of our creation. We know that God is eternal with no beginning. Our universe, according to you've just said, about 14 billion years ago. Compared to eternity, this is very recent, right? Eternity has gone already past. Are you saying God only created for 15 billion years ago and that's it? No. Time is very relative. Time is very relative. So you must understand that, okay, when you talk about now or later, if I said God created human beings, suppose now God created human beings, the moment He created the universe, you will say, why not later? You can ask
Came first.
you can ask all these zillions of questions. You can never be satisfied saying, for example, a clear example, Muslims pray 5 times a day. You will say, why 5? Why not 3? Why not 4? Why not 6? So if I say, okay, 4 times a day, okay, why not 7? This is the kind of questioning
No, I
people
would say
have.
why at all?
No, no.
Why
I have seen people saying this. So what I am saying is this. As rational, reasonable person, Charlotte, yourself, when you examine the Quran, you will see, as I'm repeating again, the word resonate. The Quranic teaching will resonate with your heart and your mind. There are certain things which you might find not palatable, and this is for this reason. Because you could be a vegetarian, the Quran says you can eat, appropriately slaughtered animals, like a cow or a sheep and so on. If as a vegetarian you might say, how can you take a life? But that's your own outlook of life.
What is God?
Vegetarianism is not what God created us for. For example, I have to make this link because some people become very emotional in their outlook of life. You know, we have teeth, canine teeth, designed specially to bite and chew meat. We have in our stomach enzymes to digest animal proteins. So in our makeup, we are not made vegetarian. Sorry? Whatever you say. In our makeup, we are not made vegetarian. We are made to digest meat, consume meat. So if someone, because of their vegetarianism, are you vegetarian? Are you vegetarian? Right. If someone, because of the vegetarianism, say, how can I accept the teaching of the Quran because it says you can eat meat? You are creating a false obstacle. The vegetarian.
Why can't you eat pork?
False obstacle. Why? Because you're taking your own understanding of life, saying, I'm not going to take any meat. and saying this should be universally applied, and that means I don't accept the teaching. So yes, you'll find, like the teaching of war, Quran says, fight those who fight you, but do not commit transgression. Some people might be very pacifist and don't like it, but that doesn't stop from understanding that fighting sometimes is a necessity. If England is invaded by France now, do you think the English people, the English army, will sit there and exchange flowers? Of course not. I don't have to even, tell you the reasons why fighting can be justified on some occasions. When the police often employs violence to stop a criminal, are you going to say, why? Why are you violent? Because the police might shoot someone on the feet from stabbing another person because this guy got a knife. That was violence, shooting someone on the feet. But that violence was justified to prevent harm because that was a clearly criminal intent. So police used justifiable violence to stop this individual. So Islam has crime and punishment system in which there are certain punishment which might seem harsh to you. And there is a reason for harsh punishment. Why? Because God wants a stable society in which people can live in peace and harmony and in safety. So if people were to now take their own arms in their own hands and then start killing people, they need to be dealt with in any society. So Islam has a system where these people will be punished. For example, if a highway robber comes and then in broad daylight tortures people, oppresses, kills people, they get highest punishment. Why? Because that's not like a robber who goes in the night, darkness of the night, and then starts stealing without your knowing it. Because he's trying to steal without you knowing it. Okay? This guy, this individual, is different from an individual who comes along in broad daylight and says, I'm going to kill you in a broad daylight. So the punishment system cannot be the same for both of them. Yeah? If a person steals 20 pounds and a person kills 20 people, do you think the punishment should be the same? 1 day in prison? That's not just. Because the crimes are of different magnitude. So Islam has certain punishments which has highest magnitude of punishment. They are called capital offenses requiring capital punishment. Why? Because they destabilize a functioning, running society. Only few punishments which are very magnitude in their punishment. Rest are discretionary. The judge can give you a warning and let you go away, or fine you, or put you in prison for some time, and so on. But other punishment, very severe. So the severity punishment, like for example, this murderer, murdering people. If a murdering punishment for a murder was 10 pounds, do you think murder will increase or decrease? Yeah, someone's got 20 pounds, he says, I can get away with 2 murders. 20 pounds. But if the punishment of murder is, you will have to give your own life by the hands of the law, you will be executed, death penalty, people will think twice. If I take another life, my life will be taken away. That is why certain punishments like this, crimes, is mentioned with the highest penalty. It's harsh for a reason, and that reason is deterrent. Deterrent is one essential element in the punishment system in Islam. So yes, there are certain things which you may not like, and when we examine it, we know why these are there in the first place. So when you pick up the copy of the Quran and in which you read it for yourself, if you have any questions like this, ask yourself, what's the intent behind it? And then ask Muslim scholars. Sometimes you can ask questions, Islam Q&A, there's a website. He can answer your question, say I'm a non-Muslim and I want to know further. Or you can come here and speak to people. So when you are going to make your own decision, make your decision with your knowledge and understanding, rather than your total emotion or some kind of bias be the guide. Because we are all biased, right? I am biased because I'm a Muslim, so I have to tell you about Islam as best as I can. So I will have to say Islam is the truth, I have to say Islam is the best. This will be my bias, even though I believe this is the truth, this is right. But you can say still I am biased. So what I'm suggesting is, study and examine Islam yourself, and then you make up your own mind. If Islam is for you, you take it. That's what we ask.
Go to the hellfire. Sorry, you go to the hellfire.
Sure.
Need to go. I've been here a long
You
time.
take care, all right?
Thanks, nice chat though.
That's right. We actually don't shake hands.
sorry.
Don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. Let me explain to you very clearly, very briefly as well. Yep. Do not be offended. I apologize if you're offended. I apologize. I'll tell you the reason. We operate with an Islamic system whereby the relationship between man and woman, we have this sacred distance in which, if it's my mother, my sister, my wife, and so on, my close relatives, which I cannot marry, for example, others, I can shake hands, right? But if it's another Muslim sister, whether she's observing with full veil or not, I cannot shake her hands. Why so? Is because when we start shaking our hands, we have been totally really not, because this is societal conditioning. Physical touch is a communication method. When we touch someone, suddenly electricity, where suddenly you feel something about someone. Something can come in, so we don't want anything to come in between physically of attraction and so on. Things can happen, right? You can have a very gorgeous man shaking your hands and you feel for him, right? That's it. You're falling in love already because that was the chemistry done. So no. You should have there's a barrier in between where we should respect you and I cannot look at you with lust and so on and so forth. Neither can you look at me with lust. If you want to have a relationship, that relationship is in marriage. So that's why me and my wife shake hands, but me and someone else, we cannot. So a Muslim sister likewise cannot shake with hands with others. Some people often don't understand that. So when Muslim patients, Muslim women for example, go to a doctor and the doctor wants to shake hands and they don't, and they think they're unsocialized. That's not the case. It's because their religion tells us to not to, because of this reason. Because we respect you and respect your privacy and your private space. Where we think these things, even though it's become a normal custom, but woman to woman is fine, man to man is fine. But the society has gone so differently where they're saying free mixing is okay, it's okay, but there is a limit to how much we say it should be this boundary between us. Because you never know when the third person, Satan, comes in between us and starts giving you thoughts, okay, and diverts us from the pure intention and relationship. That is why when women and men in public, Muslim men tries to wear and cover decently, not exposing their private parts and their physique and so on and so forth. Women likewise, they cover in a dress in such a way that doesn't show up their beauty and their curves and so on. Yep. If someone is exceptionally beautiful, you will see they will take this teaching to cover even their faces. Why? Because they might be giving the wrong message and be distracted, and they have to lower their gaze between them. So we consider prevention is better than cure. That's the reason. So I hope you're not offended.
No, I'm not offended.
Okay. Take care. Okay.